You've probably heard that getting on podcast shows is a great way to showcase your expertise, reach more of your market, and build leads. This is true. And yet, many people have no clue what they need to do before they ever reach out to podcast show hosts. Hi, if we're just meeting, my name is Kathleen Gage, and I am the host of Plant-Based Eating for Health podcast show and Power Up for Profits podcast show. Over the years that I've been working with clients, teaching them how to find lots of podcast opportunities, there's one thing that most people miss, and that's how to have a great pitch sheet. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do to put together a very effective pitch sheet so that you can get a better response from more hosts and work less in getting those opportunities. Before we do, what I want you to do is go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and the bell notification. That way, when I put out other videos that are all about how you can get on lots of podcast shows, you're going to get notified about these videos. So go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification, and hit the like button. That way, again, you'll be reminded of when I put out my next video. In a pitch sheet, there's a few very simple things that you need to do to make sure it's effective. One is you have to have a good image. Next, you have to identify what it is you are even an expert at. Next, you have to have a short bio, a way for people to contact you, and it helps if you have your social media buttons that are hyperlinked right over to your social media channels. Now keep in mind, you don't want to give too much information, because if you give too much information to begin with, you're going to overwhelm the host. And some hosts literally get dozens of requests a week, maybe even hundreds, depending on how big their show is, to be on the show. Many have gatekeepers. You want to be able to get through those gatekeepers. So let's go over, take a look at Molly Nichols' page, see what she has for her pitch sheet, her media sheet, and see what we can do to make it even more effective so she can get a higher conversion rate. Now, before I get into the pitch sheet, I want to give you some facts and figures on why now more than ever, podcast shows are a great marketing resource to get your message out to your market in a big way. This comes from Podcast Insights. First of all, 50% of all U.S. homes are podcast fans. 45% of monthly podcast listeners have a household income of over $75,000 a year versus 35% for the total population. 27% of U.S. podcast listeners have a 4-year college degree versus 19% of the U.S. population. So very affluent, very high disposable income market. 49% of podcast listening is done at home, down from 51% in 2017. Now, I would say that number might be off at this point in time, because these figures were gotten in 2017, 2018. And since the pandemic, the listening at home has gone through the roof. Actually, I've heard numbers as high as 60 to 70% increase in listeners of podcast shows. 22% listen while driving. And again, that number might be lower because not as many people are in their cars as used to be. And comedy is the most popular podcasting genre, followed by education and news. With brand awareness, now if you have a brand or you're trying to develop a brand, podcast listeners are much more active on every social media channel. 94% are active on at least one versus 81% for the entire population. Podcast listeners are more likely to follow companies and brands on social media. Podcast listeners are more likely to subscribe to Netflix or Amazon Prime, meaning they're less likely to be exposed to TV advertising, but they are exposed to YouTube advertising, social media advertising, and 68% agree that podcast ads made them aware of new products and services. So those are really important facts and figures to keep in mind as you are looking for opportunities to be on podcast shows. So let's hop over and let's take a look at Molly's current one sheet, and let's turn it into a really nice pitch sheet. Okay, so as we look at her current one sheet, this is what she has on her website. We've got an image up here, we've got her name, we've got a little bit about her, and then a short bio. and talking points. Okay, so that's good for an information page, but that's not what is actually considered a one sheet. Let's go to a couple of people that have really good one sheets. In the truest sense of the word, a one sheet is 1 or 2 pages of information. Now, here's a one sheet, and for a pitch sheet, it could actually be reduced down. And what's nice is that Marcia Moran of Stroke Forward has it on her website. It's easy to download. Okay, as you'll notice, it's something that can be easily downloaded. And in her particular case, it's 2 pages of information. You can even reduce that down to 1 page of information. And let me show you what I mean. On my website, I have 2 different one sheets. I've got the one for my plant-based eating, my veganism, and then I've got one for business. So let's go ahead and click on the one for business. It opens up into a PDF. And that's the thing that you want to be able to do, is you want to have it linked as a PDF on your website, so it's easy for a show host to download if they're so inclined. Okay, what you'll notice here is we've got my name in large letters at the top. I've got a logo here. I've got my headshot. I've got a short bio and possible interview topics with my web address. My web address has my contact information on it. You can put your phone number, you can put your email address, but you want to keep it relatively simple. Let me show you some others. And again, you'll notice I have the image for my podcast show. I've got my name. This is about plant-based eating for health. It's got a bio that is specific to plant-based eating. And then I've got topics that I can speak on about plant-based eating. It's got the logo for the plant-based eating page. It also has hyperlinks to my social media. So what you want to also do is have hyperlinks to your social media. So in looking at that, let's go ahead and we're going to get the source file to one of my pages. Okay, so let's say that we want to really improve the quality of what Molly has on her site. Okay, so we'll go back to her site and we'll just grab her name. And we're going to go put her name in there. And this is a source file, so it's really easy to change. And then we'll take a look. Let's see. We'll go to her homepage. We'll look up some information. And we'll go more. And we'll change the color, shape, fill. And let's go more with a purple. That kind of matches her colors. We'll change that to white. Okay, then we'll put her image. Now, on her image, the one thing I want you to look at here is her image has kind of a background to it, and it's kind of fuzzy. What you want to make sure of is that you have a high resolution image that you can add. But what I did is I removed the background. Okay, and to remove a background, all you need to do is go to remove.bg, which is background. You take the image that you want to remove the background on. There's no cost to this. And you go to pictures. We grab her picture. Okay, we grab that. And we download, and now we have, then we'll go back and we'll say, okay, we want to add in an image. And we've got a nice image. And again, it would be much better if it was a higher resolution, but for the sake of this exercise, this will work. Then we need a short bio, okay? And in order to do that, first of all, what I would do is I would continue to change the colors. Oops. Let's go to, it's purple. Let's do that. And we'll do this. And we'll do the purple. Go right there. And this is how easy it actually is. And let's get her web address. And then what we'll do is we'll straighten that out. And looking, and then we change this, looking for a show guest that has a lot of experience with fun, playful, and outrageous topics. And Molly Nickel is the one to call. Now, you can even add in the phone number right here if you're so inclined. And this is where, once everything is set up, you would hook up the hyperlinks, possible topics. Let's go to her information page. And let's see, we'll grab this first, the bio. And we'll take that and we'll put it in here. And we've got, we're going to straighten that out. We're going to do, let's see, let's go to the left there. We'll probably increase the size. And let's see what we can do with this. Let's organize that. Okay. And let's go to a 14, see how far that goes down. And that probably will read a little bit better. And then possible topics, the power of Theo. Let's just say that's a topic. Another topic would be what to write when Spirit speaks through you. And let's go back to her site, because really what these are, the talking points, these are more questions. Okay, so let's say we want to add in her web or her email address. We could actually add that in right here. And let's go ahead and change that to white. And we should probably enlarge it so it's easier to read, or look at what that is. That's Cambria. Let's go with that. Okay. And then let's go back to her website. And let's say, why do people seek guidance? How about seeking guidance from non-physical beings? Let's just make that a topic. And that's just for the sake of this. I'm not creating the actual topics. Seeking guidance. Okay, let's make those a little bit larger. And we'll go to 20. And we've got that. Okay, so basically, this is what her one sheet now looks like. So we went from her website looking like this. Now, maybe we want to add in the book. So, okay, let's say that we want to add in the book, and let's say that we want to add the image up here. Okay, so let's do an insert picture, and we'll bring it up here, and we'll move this over here. Okay, let's move this down here. And now we have a very nice looking one sheet. It's got the book on it. It's got her contact information. Let's move this up. Let's move this up. So that's the beauty of a source file. You can move things around and you can make them any way that you want to. Now let's say that we wanted to make this a little softer. We could do something like this. If you notice, it's a little softer. We could do something like Oh, let's see. Maybe we want a circle. Don't think that works. So let's do a right here, and we'll leave it like that. Kind of softens it up. But there's a number of things you can do. But as you can see, this is much easier to send to a host than to put it on a website with the questions and everything all at once. This is just to grab people's attention. This is when you're seeking out interview opportunities and they say, send me something. You can send them this one document that will let them know that you would be a fun, playful guest to have on their show. So there you go. So as you can see, there's a lot that you can do with simplicity. I encourage you, put together a good pitch sheet, really focus on what is your primary message, and then go out and look for the interviews. And again, go ahead and subscribe to this channel, hit the like button, hit the bell notification, and every time I do a video on how you can get more podcast interviews, you'll get that video. And keep in mind, it takes effort. It takes work. It's not going to happen with one inquiry. It could be that you send out an inquiry and you don't hear back from the host. There's a number of reasons for that, and I'll be talking about that in an upcoming video. And if you want more information on how to really be a rock star on interviews, go ahead and download my podcast checklist. It's my podcast interview checklist, and all you need to do is go to powerupforprofits.com/checklist. That's powerupforprofits.com/checklist. You have a great day.